Hey, look. Labels blowing up my line, it got me missing calls. Told her you ain't gotta hit me till you licking. Feel like ZVF, baby, I be cooler than the mink weather. Make a Coke bottle, give me brain till I think better. Back up on my again, hanging out with Benjamin. Franklin got me stankin' in the Lincoln, talking dividends. Look at what we did again.
Brother DMG, the poet. Y'all know what it is. Before we get into our spiel, I gotta do my spiel. Let me say God bless to all my Christian brothers and sisters. Let me say Hotep to my Kemetic brothers and sisters. I want to say Shalom or Shalom to all my Israelite brothers and sisters. I want to say Assalamu Alaikum to all my brothers and sisters in the NOI. I want to say Islam to all my Moorish brothers and sisters. I want to say peace to all my brothers and sisters in the nation of gods and earth, them 5%ers. I want to say what's up to all my Rasta brothers and sisters. Salute to all my atheist brothers and sisters. What's up to all my Abo brothers and sisters. Big what up to all my Naga brothers and sisters. Last and certainly not least, I want to say Jambo to all the rest of my brothers and sisters all throughout the African diaspora, be it here in the wilderness of the United States of America or beyond. Y'all know I say that greeting for one reason and one reason only. It's because if you black, I'm with you. And I hope that you with me. Our different ideologies should not keep us from uniting. We can have unity without uniformity. And guess what, family? As hard as it may be, we can disagree without being disrespectfully disagreeable. With that being said, family, let's get into it.
For my real rap, man. We tired of that, man. Retire that.
They don't really wanna hear the truth no more. Think they scared how I make them feel. And you can say anything you want about me, I ain't worried, that don't make it real. They don't really wanna hear the real no more. Think they scared how I make them act. And you can say anything you want about me, I ain't tripping, that don't make it fact. Look, coming live from the gutter like a cold puddle. When water whipping road shuttle. Whole huddle, Dutch burning, moving slow. I'm feeling like the minute hand. All wishes granted to me, turning in a tenant van. Been a man, never questioned nothing that was in the plan. See it from my third eye vision, so I understand. Poolside plotting moves like a dance team. 100 band scheme in the dirty with my hands clean. Never been the type of they could castrate. 5th grade, I was selling candy to my classmates. I ain't call her back, I let her think about the last date. Student of the game, and I promise you not a classmate. Problem is with these rap, they move iffy, in my mood picky. Can't let these get rude with me. God spitting on to keep my then it hit the game. Acting like I slipped in these small town fly. Never heard of these on my apex. Tip top vertices. It ain't mouths moving, but they never moving vertically. Hit a person who been practicing the perjury. Black Lord, Noble Drew, big stepping. Love them all, give a about the click repping. Small losses always taught in big lessons. Quit stressing, liberating knowledge, make the lesson. They don't really wanna hear the truth no more. Think they scared how I make them feel. And you can say anything you want about me, I ain't worried, that don't make it real. They don't really wanna hear the real no more. Think they scared how I make them act. And you can say anything you want about me, I ain't tripping, that don't make it fact. They don't really wanna hear the truth no more. Think they scared how I make them feel. And you can say anything you want about me, I ain't worried, that don't make it real. They don't really wanna hear the real no more. Think they scared how I make them act. And you can say anything you want about me, I ain't tripping, that don't make it fact.
They don't want to hear the truth no more. I think they scared how it make them feel. Welcome to Paradigm Shift TV 314. Y'all know what it is. It's your brother DMG, the infamous DMG, the poet, aka Brother Pianki. And this is a powerful show with two powerful guests. We got the one and only most honorable Elder Yarah in the building. And we have the one and only anonymous Hebrew in the building.
Peace to you, brother. Peace to you.
What's going on, my brothers?
Man, what's good with you, man? Peace and blessings to you, my good brother, man. I'm glad for you to, and honored for you to have myself and Anonymous Hebrew on the show this evening, man. Peace and blessings to you, family.
Peace, peace, peace. What's going on?
You know what it is, dog. First off, shalom to you. It's an honor to be here. I'm happy to be here, man. I think we're going to have a great build. We're going to have some fun. We're going to laugh. Might cry a little bit. We'll see. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. No doubt. Hey, we had a phone call, man, and y'all almost had me bust out with a couple of hallelujahs. So, you know, I gotta watch myself on this live. So with that being said, let me ask y'all my first question, and I'll start with the esteemed elder. And were y'all brought up in the Israelite movement, or was that something you came to later in life? And if so, what was it that made you realize this was where you belonged and where our people needed to go?
Well, yeah, man, I appreciate the question. First, giving all praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to Yeshua HaMashiach, showed us how to walk out the Torah circumspectly in our lives each and every day. We give honor to him. Growing up, I myself, I was raised in both a predominantly Pentecostal church, as well as an Israelite congregation. So I grew up with a mix of both, with two different sides, of my parents and grandparents. My, and one of my mother's mother even was a part of my grandfather was a part of a Baptist church for a long time, prominent churches in Chicago. And so I've had a mixture of both. I remember growing up, my dad, we would go to Sunday service and have service on Shabbat on Saturdays. My dad, he would have us pray at times. He would lead the prayer, but he would have us sometimes lead the prayer as kids and growing up as young teenagers on Saturday. So we always had Saturday worship at my household. We always, read from the scripture. So I had a very, I would say, religious and experience of growing up, with that particular background. So, it's so the identity thing for me, as far as pronouncing myself in the way of the sort of quote unquote Israelite movement, or some would say Black Hebrew Israelite movement, is something that was not just a natural progression for me, but something that was always been a part of me, based on through the scriptures. So, and how we were brought up.
Gotcha. My Hebrew, same question.
You know what it is. First off, giving all praises to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Obviously, we want to acknowledge all of his holy ones, especially Messiah Yeshua, for reconciling the remnant back, but even to those that are on the battlefield now. Y'all praise. I'll say a very eclectic background. I wasn't fortunate enough to grow up in the Israelite movement. I grew up heavy in the church, heavy. My people are, grew up with my grandmother making sure that all her sons and grandsons and even her daughters knew the Christian doctrine. but she also made sure that we were grounded and that we could think. So I kind of grew up almost like a PK, except it was with my uncle. Always around the church, always getting that biblical foundation, and actually for a while being groomed, to take over somebody's church. If it wasn't gonna be his, it was somebody else's. And so that was my life for a while. And then as I got older and became a teenager, you know, growing up where I grew up at, growing up in the neighborhoods we grew up in, if it's not something there every day to hold you accountable and hold you in the space that you need to be in, you end up going off the path. And so that's what happened. I, kind of ran around, did a lot of crazy stuff. Ended up going to the military and all types of stuff, man. Played a little ball. And then, got out the military and tried to go back to my roots, tried to get back into the church and all of this stuff. And I was welcomed with open arms, to be groomed for that spot. So started preaching. Was one of the youngest preachers in these different areas. Was really getting busy. And it never felt right. It just never felt like home. I'm reading the scriptures and what we're talking about, what we're being told don't line up with what we are reading in the scriptures. And so just went through a long journey after that. So once I saw what it was, walked away from that. And I went on a real long journey from Kemet, like I love when I hear the brothers talk about Kemet and they think that some of us didn't study it or whatever, but went down that hole. My father was in OI, so went down that rabbit hole. I went down everything you could think of until I came to this. And I've never been in a congregation. I'm a real internet brute, right? Everything I got was straight off the mud, off the internet. Had to be autodidactic. I had to learn on my own. I had to sit back, and I've been blessed to be around some of the best leaders that are in our communities that are not within the One West persuasion. I know that's what everybody sees. And don't get it twisted. I love my One West brothers. It took me a long time to get there, right? But I really do sincerely love those brothers. I know they're doing the work, but I just didn't get brought up in that. I got brought up over on Debate Talk for You, honestly, with Sal Showtime and the brother Josh from ABT really pulled me under his wing and showed me how to. So what he said was I was like an anomaly. So he didn't want me to just get caught up in every single doctrine. So he taught me to just study this whole thing out. And that's what I did. And so then it turned into great brothers like Mikhail Ben Israel would just spend time and teach me stuff. And Zadok Ben Israel. And, I mean, I could just run down the line, man. I got so many brothers, Mighty Hebrew, this good brother, Elder Yarah. I've been able to just, learn and be brought up and then just kept studying. But, in essence, how did I come to this on the internet? I came across, I think it was brother Yarah. He had this really dope video that I think a lot of people had came across. And it just basically broke down, a lot of the teachings and, why you didn't feel at home in the church. And so then, you come across everything that's on the internet with the camps and all of this stuff. And I did. I just got busy. I got to studying and working. And at the same time, I was already going through seminary school, right? So I was going through school, focusing in religion and psychology and Christian counseling. And eventually, while I'm going through this growth process, I'm interacting with my professors and I'm interacting with all of these people to the point where they're telling me, well, look, you're right with everything that you're saying, but it goes against all the basic foundation things that we're trying to teach in here. So we kind of need you to chill out. And so that's when I knew like we was on to something. And so I just really, really immersed myself in the studies then. And I grew to the point where there was a lot of stuff that I differed in with the people who had first brought me into this. Not to say that we still not family, we still are, but as you know, this moniker or whatever, this anonymous Hebrew thing became came a lightning rod. So I kind of wanted to protect a lot of my closest friends and family and even the people that first brought me into this. And so I just went on this long journey of debating and studying and growing. And I just ended up here. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm an internet group. And I know people, they look at us funny. They think some of us don't understand, but there's some of us that really are out here doing the work. We had to just get it out the mud. I didn't have nobody to hold me accountable. So I had to hold myself accountable. I had to learn how to really become a man in this and trust in the Most High. And so I got a real relationship with the Creator because of this. So I'm grateful. But that's basically it. Sorry for being long.
No doubt, no doubt. It's all good, bro. You gotta tell your story. And with that being said, I think a lot of people got it the same way you did, and still made a real life of it, and a real sound moral and ethical stance in it. And so I don't think it's for those who saying, oh, he got it off the internet. I don't think that that's nothing to put down. You know what I mean? So
I'm proud of it.
Exactly. So let's talk about identity and
Let's go then. You finna jump in.
I'm jumping in with both feet, bro. I'm 6'2", 285, but I'm still gonna jump in with both feet.
Big dog, let's go. All right.
Let's talk about identity and spirituality, man. What drew you to the Black Hebrew Israelite movement, and how has it reshaped your understanding of your identity and purpose as Black men in America? This time I'm gonna start with Anonymous.
Man, this is a great question. I'll start with the identity, and then I'll finish with the spirituality because I think that's going to be the most important. And I want to say this now: what me and my brothers, like Elder Yarah and the different brothers we build with, while I am going to go in on our identity, I think it's time for us to start moving away from simply identity and now start moving to purpose, right? So as I go into the identity thing, I want it to be understood like a part of the identity is to understand if you signing up to be an Israelite, you raising your hand and saying, this is who you are, this is the hardest thing in the world. Like, understand that. If you really doing this right, you signing up for the hardest job in the world because your job is to really come out here and be a light to the world in a way that is not very popular. So in terms of identity, I guess the best way to explain it is you know that what you've been told about everything else about yourself wasn't true. And so when you just hear this, you know you hear the truth, right? This is why, I'll go ahead and just throw this. This is why I do talk about epigenetics. If we need to, we'll get into that. But the idea of finding who you are and hearing that for the first time, hearing you was brought on slave ships. You was brought here on slave ships because you was different than the other people on the continent. Not to say, so I'm not one of these groups that say we hate Africa, right? I just understand that there was a migration thing. There's a migratory pattern that we must follow, right? And so when you understand that, for me, the identity for me became a real big thing to the point where I was one of the first few brews that really started to deal with DNA. We was really doing that 7-8 years ago. I ain't gonna say the first, but the first that I knew of that was dealing with this. And so I started to study DNA. I started to study human migratory patterns. And that's where I really found the identity of, being an Asiatic and understanding that small strip that we look at, that's still attached to that African tectonic plate, and that we've been running back and forth in and throughout Africa throughout our entire existence. And so, long story short, what I found was really who we are in the history, and then I had to go get the culture. But the history gave me the identity to say, this is really the thing. This is really the move. And then you hear all these other powerful men teaching and standing up, and that's the biggest part of it. Finding out that you can really be unapologetically Black, but still remain in your culture and your foundation being brought up and understanding the Bible, but you just got to get away from a lot of the dogma, right? And then in terms of the spirituality, man, I'm gonna keep it a stack, bro. Like you almost immediately get out of the name it, claim it, blab it, grab it. Oh, he's coming in a Honda, and you finna get this, and you about to get that. You know, you kind of immediately move away from that, especially because I was in the church and they used to take us to the back and they would teach us the hoop. You know what I'm saying? I'll bust out in the hoop in a minute. You know, that's what they teach you. But that's not really spirit, right? That's not really spirit. That's not really connection to the Most High, because you'll go do that on Sunday, and then throughout the whole week, you start cussing, you yelling, you fighting, you doing all these other things that don't represent who you should be as a believer, right? And so that was the biggest thing, understanding how to really control my spirit, man, and learning that that's a mental walk, that that's an everyday fight, and that you need to surround yourself with powerful people. You need to feed yourself. I used to teach this as well. You got two wolves inside of you. You just do it like that, and whichever one that's gonna win is the one you feed the most, right? And so I had to learn how to feed that spirit, man. So that's what this did, was to really teach me the practicality of how the spirit works and how to control your juice. Or this man said I'm gonna spill my juice. How to control your spirit, man, and control your soul. So that's what it was for me.
Understood. Elder Yarah, same question.
Yeah, all praises to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And again, great question. For me, John chapter 13 talks about that the world will know us, right? That we would be identified. We would be able to be known as followers of Yahweh, Jesus the Christ, Yeshua, some would say, by the love that we have for one another. And I think that is the greatest and best identifier that we have. And along with that, we are commanded to first love the Most High. Christ, out of his 2 commandments, his greatest commandments that he gave, that encompasses all of the law, statutes, and commandments, that is to first love the Most High God, right? With all your heart, soul, and mind, right? And to love him and him alone. And I think that is the catalyst that we should talk about and that we should all have, especially as our brother Anonymous has said so eloquently, that we are moving now from not just identifying ourselves genetically. We have those things are important and spiritually, but just being able to identify with the fact that we are here for a purpose, right? And understanding what that purpose is, and finding out that that purpose is to win as many souls as we can and draw as many people to love the Lord, the Most High God, and to return to, some argue against his law, statutes, and commandments, but I clearly believe that that is our catalyst. The scripture talks about that the law is the schoolmaster. Some look at it as a point of legalism, but everything, even a house, the strongest fortification requires a foundation. And if we have that love, if we understand what that purpose is, not just to our own brethren, but also to be that light unto the world, we need that foundation. And that begins with the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High. The scripture talks about those that join themselves to the law shall Israel. And so I think that when we talk about identity, there's some things that I think we all, even as a people, brings us into covenant and draws us in to the understanding of what the scripture says. We can look at the things that the prophets went through in the scriptures. We can look at the tests and the trials that they went through. We can look at the persecution that they went through. Even Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, we can look at persecution and the crucifixion, and we can look at those things that he went through, the ridicule that he went through, and understand that in that, some of us at some point in our lives can identify with those things, right? We've been talked about, we've been put down, we've been lied on, right? People have conspired against us. People hate you for no reason, simply other than because you believe in the Most High God, Yah, and that He is real in your life. And so these things are all things that identify us, right? To live a life according to how the Most High would have us to live, a virtuous life, right? So all those things are identifiers, and all those things are things that bring about persecution. All those things are things that bring about camaraderie. All right. And so I think that when it comes to, identifying who Israel is and questions about identification, I think we have to consider all of that, because as you've heard, we all come from different walks of life, right? And so it's often said it really doesn't matter where you start, but it matters where you end up. And we're all looking to end up in a place of being in right standing with the Most High Yah. And so that's what we're looking to do, and bring about His purpose and His plan here on earth while we're here. And so, for me, that's what I look forward to, and that's what we press towards, building and strengthening our people. We deal a lot with strengthening our people physically and mentally and emotionally, even financially. While we're down here on earth, the scripture tells us that money answers all things, right? So all of these things are important. So when it comes to identification, I think that even as a community, especially when we talk about our people, right? Black people, for example, specifically, right? If we had more love in our community, right? If we had a much greater sense of brotherhood and sisterhood in our communities, how much further could we advance as a people? And people often talk about, how come you Christians and how come you Israelites and how come y'all don't, y'all teach this Bible thing all the time, and how come our communities aren't advancing? Well, what we teach is love, right? And how to love your neighbor, right? How to love your brother, right? The one whom you see every day, right? So, these are the things that we have to get right, right? We have to get right first before anything else. So, for us, and as I stand, that's the identification, that I teach that we definitely need.
No doubt.
I just want to land me back off of what he just said. We don't do piggybacks around here. So when a brother is talking about finding that purpose in serving the Creator, right, and understanding, walking out the law and living that thing out, I know we get accused a lot of being these legalists, right? We get accused of being the people who just, you hold on to the laws of Moses. But even when you read the New Testament, you're taught consistently there's certain things you can't do and enter into the kingdom, right? So no matter how you want to slice it, there's a certain way that we got to live. And so when we look at this, now we start to move into this conversation of the qualification of sanctification, right? When we want to talk about being set apart, finding a way to set apart, how are you saying that you're different if you're doing the same thing that the people who have destroyed the world are doing? Right, when you look around the world right now, no shot. I ain't trying to shoot up the church today, right? But if it go up, it go up, right? But it is what it is, right? Why when I go to certain churches, especially the bigger the church, the bigger the neighborhood, it's drug infested. It's It's still prostitution. It's still all of these different things that we're not supposed to be seeing, right? But the church keep getting bigger. The building keep getting bigger, right? The cars keep getting nicer. The clothes keep getting more beautiful. But we still seeing the same homeless people. We still seeing the same situation. Not saying every church, right? Because there are churches that are out there doing the work. But by and large, it turns into a money grab. But then there's no economic empowerment. So like the brother was saying, why aren't we teaching our people how to start a business, how to actually get business credit, and how to turn around and do something in your neighborhood, do something in your community, right? Why aren't we teaching the different things that are going to give us upward mobility as a people, right? And I think that's because we don't find our identity correctly, right? There's nothing wrong with identifying with who Messiah Yeshua is. But even he said he came for the lost sheep. Even he chose in certain ethnicity, a certain ethnic people to bring about this message. So at some point in time, you got to step in who you are and really live out in that purpose.
Okay. So I kind of I feel you on that, and y'all kind of touched on it, but I want to talk about community and brotherhood. Like one of my best brothers in not only in these YouTube spaces, but in real life since I connected with him here in St. Louis is Captain K of ISUPK, the Gog of Bar.
Shout out to that brother.
Peace, yeah. I gotta play my cap. His like whenever he hit the panel, I gotta hit him with this because this kind of his motto.
I'm running this shit. Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
and so, but I remember like it was yesterday, probably about 5, maybe 6 years ago. I reached out to the brother because I was going to a meeting and it was the Pan-African Alliance, I believe, here in St. Louis. And I was going to one of their meetings, and as we were passing in the building, I saw ISUPK, the School of Universal Practical Knowledge. And I'm like, it's one of those in St. Louis. Oh, okay. I had no idea. So when I started this platform, I reached out to him. He reached back out, and we kind of started our relationship. But I remember my mother got diagnosed with breast cancer, and she got surgery to deal with that. And the brother hit me up, and he was like, "Hey, bro, what's going on?" And I told him, "All right, man, I'm up here with my mother. She got surgery." He's like, "Yeah, I remember you saying that." He was like, "How's she doing?" I'm like, she back there. She doing what she got to do." I was up there by myself, and I was explaining that my siblings couldn't make it or whatever. He was like, "Hey, where's she getting it at, man? You want me to come sit with you?" And I'm like, "Come sit with, like, really?" Just out of the kindness of his heart, that brotherly love that you like, that's not, sad to say, that's not something that we naturally have in our community anymore because of everything that goes on. We naturally apprehensive towards one another. But that brother, yeah, he instantly was like, "You want me to come sit with you?" And then even when I got tore my meniscus and I was getting surgery to have that repaired, he reached out to my queen and was like, "Hey, where y'all at? I want to surprise my bro, when he wake up." But I had already, we was getting ready to get up and, get ready to go out to the car and everything by the time he had hit her up. And so, but just that kindness, that brotherly kindness, and it's been many more examples of the love, the brother that showed me, and hopefully vice versa. But that's one thing that I know that he definitely he displays, and so I always appreciated that about the ISUPK in particular as an organization. And so one thing I wanted to ask y'all in terms of community and brotherhood, the Black Hebrew Israelite movement emphasizes unity and brotherhood. How has being a part of that paradigm impacted your relationship with other Black men, both within and outside of the paradigm?
Go ahead, Elder. I'll come after you.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. As I stated before, I grew up partly going to an Israelite congregation. Nothing in the sense of what we would see in a like an ISUPK or GMS or like like one of the camps settings, but more of a Israelite congregation. And so that was my first exposure to those types of brothers. Now, when we talk about what most of us in this internet space is familiar with, or social media space is familiar with, like the different camps that you see out here, it's a much more, I would say, militant ire to it, or movement to it. And I know there's some background history that goes into that. But it's almost as if, you're coming, it's two completely different ways of recognizing that we as a people can identify with the struggle of the Israelites in the wisdom text of the biblical literature, of the biblical text of the Bible, and on the paradigm that comes from the camps, to a place where it's undoubtedly we are those people, right? And because we are those people, we're entitled, to that land. That is the land we're to return to. That is our land, to a much more possessive understanding. And so I think for myself, finding the balance in that throughout the years, reading, studying, praying, what is truth, what is fiction, and what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. How did we get to these different paradigms and different arguments? What is the impact of slavery in America, and racism and white supremacy? What is the impact that those things have socially on those two different backgrounds that we're coming from? And then understanding that we are a people. We are a people that require community. We require community for survival. It's needed, right? I think one of the biggest things, even in the antebellum South, coming up during the time of slavery, one of the things that the slave masters did was isolate people, right? They isolated the slaves. They separated people who spoke the same languages. They separated the weak from the strong. They separated fathers from families. They separated children from families. So in isolation and separation, devastating the understanding and the idea of community and what it means to be a community of people, and how we live together, how we resolve conflict with each other. I think a lot of those things, because of slavery, had a big impact on both sides. Whether you're from a much more maligned Israelite background or a much more militant background, as you see with the camps, like with with the quote unquote ISUPK or GMS or the commandment keepers, different things like of that nature. We're still fighting to get back to a sense of community. We're still in that struggle. We're still in that fight. And so I think that everything that you hear and you see that comes out of these, that comes from the Black Hebrew Israelites today, or Israelites today. Some people don't like being called a Black Hebrew Israelite. Some people only want to be called an Israelite. Some people don't want to be called either one, but they still hold to some of the core tenets of that teaching, that we are the people of the book. But it all requires a need for community to work, right? We look at it in terms of nation building, right? Bringing that nation back together, fortifying a nation of people, which requires more than just us living next door to each other. It requires a code, a standard of how to live next door to one another. How do we govern ourselves? And that's one thing our people really need. We really need to learn how to govern ourselves. We're so focused and divided, with things of that come down from the white hegemony in this country, that sort of set the rules and the standards of how we should actually live as a people, that we've lost the sense and almost the ability to govern ourselves. And most of our Black leaders have always talked about, and our teachers and our rabbis have talked about, learning how to govern ourselves. And we're quite a ways behind in doing that, but we're still making advances. And so that's one of the things I think that, is very important, having this conversation, our ability to starting to gel together and looking at ways to come together even more as a people. But we got so many things to deal with these days, different religions, different, backgrounds, and, different things that are out there. So, so those are the things that I think, we really should focus on when it comes to that topic and question.
No doubt. And yeah, not for nothing. This act my questions to original questions to y'all, but I'm gonna kind of throw this in there. One of the things that I think is an undeniable fact as it pertains to our people is that coming out of slavery, we were ardent Bible believers. I think y'all can both agree with that. And within 80 or so years coming out of slavery, you had Black millionaires, you had Black towns that were thriving, Black businesses that were thriving, even though we know, due to the jealousy of racist, white supremacists, etc., a lot of those towns, all of those towns were systematically destroyed. One being where my parents is from, here in St. Louis, Kenlock. That being said, one of the popular theories is that one of the reasons that we sort of came to the state that we are in today, with so much degradation amongst our people in particular, so much death and crime and just all kinds of ill-gotten situations, is because we got away from our belief in the Bible. We veered off into Kemet. We veered off into the NOI. We veered off into the 5% doctrine. We veered off into all of these different ideologies that were outside of the Bible, the Moorish Science Temple. And as a result, because those ideologies seem to be more flexible in what you could and couldn't do, because I've seen where 5%ers could delve into, the drug game, or, there were NOI members who were involved in organized crime. I'm not saying that they condone it. I'm just saying that I've personally seen that. And, we see some of these situations, not all, but some of these situations where people claiming to be a particular type of conscious individual would end up doing some things that were detrimental to our people and are serving time for that to this day. That being said, had we, again, this is the theory, had we stood firm in our biblical beliefs, you can put as many drugs in our neighborhood as you want to. If we stand firm in our biblical beliefs, we don't touch them. It could be a hooker on every corner. We not touching her because we standing firm in our biblical beliefs. Liquor store on every corner, etc. What do y'all say to that? And do you find any truth or relevance in that theory?
Yeah, it's gonna get up after this one probably. So I'll say this, right? I don't disagree that we did have a strong church background, but the problem was we had a zeal that wasn't according to knowledge, and so we didn't know how to even maintain the communities. We didn't know how to tell people. So if we look at like the Black Wall Street situation with Tulsa, right? Little brother shouldn't even have no business over there shoe shining for them white folks who wouldn't have to deal with it. You understand what I'm saying? So what we see happening is yeah, we love the Lord, and we had this, in my opinion, the slave doctrine down, right? And we even had the Nat Turner revolt doctrine, but we didn't have the mindset to stick with it, to say, no, we really don't do these things, and here's why. So while we can say the brothers and sisters wasn't doing, that they weren't doing drugs, they were quietly behind the scenes. They were drinking behind the scenes. They were stepping out on their women, or even beating their women, or leading their houses the wrong way behind the scenes a lot of times. So while we won't say everybody's doing it, that thing was tolerated a lot, right? Whereas now when we really talk about sanctified and set apart living, yeah, nah, brother, you're not doing none of that, right? And if you do, we got to sit you down for a second. No, sister, if you do, we got to sit you down for a second, right? So you can understand that this thing is severe, right? That's the difference, I say now, when we talk about the brotherhood, whether you are moderate, which they would consider me to be, an Elder Yarah, or you're One West, or you're a Torah only, whatever it is, this thing now has turned into a real serious lifestyle, right? It's not just surface. Now, that don't mean we got brothers and sisters that don't mess up in this truth as well. Don't get it twisted, right? I'm not saying that. But the overarching understanding and idea is we're not doing any of that stuff, right? We look at these things now. So for instance, when a brother or sister first come off the street, they got a drug habit, whatever it is, right? The goal is to get them off that habit. The goal is to get them into a job. The goal is to get them into right living, right? It's not just see you on Sunday and give you a microwave serving and hit you with a hoop, put him in the grave, raise him up, and then send you home, right? Because I could hoop out. I could go in right now, hoop out, and give us a benediction and send us home. But that don't change it, right? That's not the lifestyle. That's not the teaching that's going to bring about this real reformation, what we see in Romans 12, this transformation by the renewing of your mind. What am I renewing to? If I'm not saying that it's wrong to do certain things, or even better, watch, because you talked about they made millions of dollars in all of these communities, right? Well, then they should have learned to work together. And then now we have a whole system, right? Because a part of the law, since we're accused of being legalists, is if your brother wax poor around you, what should you do? You should redeem him. You're supposed to raise him up. You're supposed to bring him up. I wasn't taught that in the church. Right, I was taught, if I can help you, I will a little bit. Drop a couple dollars in a plate. If we can, we help the homeless people. Even if you got a homeless ministry or a feeding ministry, it was very, very minuscule, right? But now the goal, especially for those of us that really take this thing serious, is to move into a space where that's the whole purpose. That's the whole goal. The whole goal is to redeem us, to pull us out of this muck and this mire of what we call a sin-sick world. And we understand sin is the violation of these laws. So now the concept is, how can we really be those people? How can we be that light that shineth on the hill? And the way that we become that person is by right living, sanctified living, and really, truly going about the proper way of bringing up the economics and just being active in all 12 areas of people activity. And I'll let Elder pull it there because you're talking to where I really want to go in. We'll go all night.
Okay. Elder Yarah, same question.
Yeah. Again, just as good brother Anonymous Hebrew was saying, especially coming, especially in the 60s, right? We saw a lot of, James Brown, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. We saw a lot of things in regards to the Vietnam War and different things like that. And a lot of ramped up alcoholism and drug use, that when a lot of the Black soldiers returned to their communities, fathers, they really found themselves disenfranchised, right? Not being able to support their families, not giving the credit and support that they needed when they go on to war and putting their lives on the line for their government. Some of you may or may not be familiar with Daniel Moynihan's case for the Negro family. And in that report that he was asked to write for President L.B. Johnson at the time, Lyndon B. Johnson at the time, was to find out what was the greatest need for and greatest failures and the reasons for those for the Black family. And that Daniel Moynihan's findings was that there was systematic racism, right? Black men were being purposely forced out of the homes based on policies of welfare. If there were a Black family and that father came home, especially from the Vietnam War, if he was just in that home, that he couldn't get assistance for his family. They would only give it to single mothers. And so what that did was that forced a lot of Black men out of the home. And so we see that systematically happening, right? Or forcing Black or forcing Black women not to allow that Black man in the home for the afraid of losing government assistance in public housing, right? Things that they needed in order to raise their families. And one thing we know for sure that our mothers, our sisters, they're gonna choose their children, right? That if it comes down between you and I eating, that sister's going to feed that child first, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, and that's the way it should be, right? And if you have a real man or a real father, that's exactly what you would want to happen. You should hope to have a wife and a mother of your children. Make sure those children get fed first, right? And so what we see began to happen is that Black men failed to take a stand. They failed to take a stand for the Black family. A lot of Black men may say that's not, that it's not all our fault and this and that. Well, we know racism and white supremacy has been around for forever, right? But that didn't stop Black men. That didn't stop them from having the ability to come together, right, and work things out. And so to help try to support their families. And so what most of them chose to do during those times, and that lasted for at least a good 40 years, even up until now. We still see the product of that quite a bit. They chose to use other means to support their families. A lot of them went into the drug game, and a lot of them went into prostitution. And so a lot of the stuff that we see in the communities and the streets that brought down our communities was because of the choices that we made, right? And like I said, we understand racism and white supremacy existed, but the choices that were made by Black men who failed to become the priest of their homes. And these are the things that we're actually seeing the residuals of still today. Almost 40, almost 50 years later, we're still seeing the ill effects of that. And so what we're saying is that without knowledge of the scriptures, as Anonymous Hebrew said, without that knowledge and what it's actually trying to teach us, the basis to make sure that we are responsible for taking care of our women and our children, right? Even without fail, even with the differences of doctrine, the doctrinal differences, the societal difference that you read about in the scriptures that happen. One thing that they all agreed on from the time of Moses and the commandments all the way down to the epistles and Paul, what we see is that one thing was constant, that we were to take care of the widow and the orphan, the women and the children, because that is how our societies and our communities grow and strengthen. That is a charge that's given to Black men. And we cannot escape that. We cannot skirt around that. And so what we need to happen now, again, is, our Black men to step up to the plate. Still, we say, well, we're doing everything we can, and we see all the shows on YouTube now, and the differences in who's better at relationships, Black men or Black women. All of that is fluff. All of that is non sequitur to the fact that it still does not remove the onus and the responsibility for the Black man to be the priest in that home, right? Not a tyrant, not a totalitarian, but right. The priest in that home. And right. There's a difference. And that's what we hope to bring. That's part of the purpose that our brother Anonymous Hebrew talked about from the very beginning. That's part of the purpose that we have, is to bring in young men and old men, right? To understand, listen, you have a place and a responsibility to that woman that you see, even if she's not, even if she's not your daughter, you have a responsibility to that sister to protect her. We often laugh and talk about, Black women always talk about Black men don't protect them, and we dismiss it as if fact and truth in that. That's our responsibility. And until we get to that place, into that in that mindset, which we know that the scripture actually teaches, until we get our men to that mindset, we're still going to be in this struggle and in this fight for community building and nation that we need in order to better ourselves, so that we can have a more meaningful, more purposeful life.
Man, that's heavy, right? That's heavy. I think that was for those who old enough to remember this movie Love Jones. My man said in that movie, "Let me break it down so it can forever and completely be broke." I think the brothers just did that with that particular question. Let me move on to challenges and misconceptions. Now, y'all know, just like I know, it's a lot of misconceptions about this particular paradigm. Some kind of warranted, some not so much. Some are sort of superimposed over one facet of the paradigm onto other facets of the paradigm. I think they put everybody who calls themselves a Black Israelite in the same bag and puts what one says on another one who may not agree with what was said by the other one. And so what do you believe is the biggest misconception about the Israelite paradigm, and how do you respond to people who challenge your beliefs? I'll start with Elder Yarah.
Sure. For those who challenge our beliefs, I think again, as an Israelite, I think the honor still with that comes upon us as Israel. Anonymous, brother, good brother Anonymous, he said it earlier. We have to make a difference. There has to be a difference in how we move, in our language, so to speak. And when I say language, I mean as far as the rhetoric that we speak life to our situations, to other brothers. We speak life to our women. We speak life to our children. There has to be a difference. There has to be a reason than just saying, hey, listen, I'm an Israelite, come get this t-shirt, right? So it's not just about wearing t-shirts. It's not just about wearing fringes. It's not just about keeping a Sabbath or Shabbat. It's really not about all of those things, but it's really about, as Brother Anonymous so eloquently put it, it's about a lifestyle, right? It's about a lifestyle. A lot of what makes most people famous? What makes most people famous is that you have other people who are not famous want to live their lifestyle. You see? You can have all of the money in the world, but if I don't want to, if there's nothing that you're doing that attracts me or want to make me live the way that you're living your life, or nothing's appealing to you in my life, you can have $1 billion. That doesn't make me want to be a billionaire. If I can't see your life in how in how you are living your life, right? Because you can have $1 billion and never smile. You can have $1 billion and have no reason to smile, right? You can have all of the cars in the world and have no one to go visit. You see? You can have all the cars in the world and can't travel in all the jets and travel to all the various tourist places in the world, right? And still see no beauty in it. You can't see the beauty of the Most High's creation in any of it. So we have to understand that being an Israelite has to be something that is desired. It's a lifestyle that has to be desired. Even in the scriptures, right? We see this happen all the time. When the Israelites were coming out of, out of Egypt and into Kemet, into Canaan. It tells us that they ran, that a woman named Rahab, right, a Canaanitish woman, came to them and said, hey, listen, I see the power and the glory of your God, and how you guys have, being such a small and unknown people, how y'all have this whole land trembling and in fear and in respect of your God. That is because the Israelites were living according then to the said Yah. They were following what the prophet said. They were following the Most High. Their belief led them, their understanding led them to a place where others around them were in fear of them. The problem today is people don't fear us, right? And I'm talking about as a Black people. They don't fear you for the right reasons, right? And fear is not just about being afraid of someone, but fear also means respect. They don't respect us because we don't respect ourselves, right? Being an Israelite, right? People need to want to be an Israelite because they see how you respect yourself, right? Why do I need to be an Israelite? As Anonymous Hebrew said earlier, if you sound like the 10 or 20 guys on the corner who've been drinking all night, we can't tell the difference. You see, we can't tell the difference when we watching your videos, your Israelite videos, and you got more gun bars in the videos than the ones who hate God, who don't read the Bible. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
Why would I tell my child to turn off what the secular world is doing? Why would I tell them to turn off what all the YN and all them YN guys and all them? Why do I have them turn him off just to turn on the Israelites and they all in the video? I'm shoot your head. Be like what would I do that for? You see what I'm saying? It's the sickness of our people, bro. It's the sickness of our people. And the only way I'm telling you that we come out of this sickness is following the law statutes. You know what? The problem is they fight so hard against what the scripture says, but they don't have no foundation. They don't have no foundation. What do you do if you've been ever worked in construction? What do you do when you have a building that's leaning? What do? You
got to fix that foundation.
You got to fix that foundation. You can't add. What you gonna do? You gonna add a new roof on top of the building and it's already leaning? It's already unstable. You're gonna put some more weight on top of it, or you think you're gonna screw up the sides and you just gonna add some more mortar to the side of it? No, you got to tear it down. You got to fix that foundation. If you don't fix the foundation, guess what? It might look straight for a while, but guess what? As the years go on, it's going to lean again. And the next time, when it leans, it's going to lean even further. So when it comes to walking this Israelite life and believing this Israelite life, like there has to be a separation. There has to be a difference between clean and unclean. And I'm not just talking about not eating shrimp, crab, and lobster. That's all some Israelites living a clean life is. I don't eat no shrimp, crab, and lobster. No, it's more like eating shrimp, crab, and lobster.
But you finna cuss your brother out on the live internet.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's the thing. So some people, they get angry. They don't like some of the rhetoric Elder Yarah uses. Sometimes I can get at brothers. I can say, listen, if I can say, listen, the Most High gonna, hey, listen, bro, you curse the name of the Most High, Yah. Hey, if I was you, I'd be very careful walking across the street.
It's definitely up after this one.
All I'm saying is that if you take that, my scripture tells you that. If that bothers you, I'm just saying, listen, we have to live a lifestyle that is lined up with what we say. Nobody's perfect, right? The Most High throughout his scripture never used any prophet that didn't make a mistake, that was not perfect. Just did not happen, right? And so this is why we give honor to Yeshua Mashiach, because the scripture tells us that he was able to walk out the Torah circumspectly in a way that showed us how it could be done. You see? So, I take exception when it comes to this Israelite thing. I think that a lot of our sisters have been led astray by bad doctrine and bad teaching. That comes from the Israelite paradigm, no more than you see it in the Christian church, the Baptist, Catholic, whatever, Muslims, whatever. You're gonna find somebody who's disgruntled. I get that, but you're gonna find most of the times people leave, or they don't come, or they don't see your living or your life as a testament in how to live a better life. Right? I'm not talking about the people that don't want it. Some people they like living the way they live. They like smelling the way they smell, so they're not gonna take a shower.
Right.
You see? But I'm talking about those who have a desire for a better life, will seek out a better life. And guess what? Sometimes we're the only light that they'll ever see.
It's not even sometimes, it's most times.
most of the time.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead,
So,
you know.
I mean, you smacked it. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in re-preaching. I don't believe in reheating the meal. You know, I'll say this little piece. At some point in time, as Israelites, and I hope you got listening, especially if you got a leader that you're going to talk to, at some point we got to start teaching the same thing and unify. That would be the biggest thing that concerns me. I don't care that people, you know, they call us legalists. I don't care about none of that, right? I don't care. Man, I done had people threaten my life. They call me everything. They do 3.5-hour streams on us, and I ain't even built no ministry yet. So, yeah, that's coming. But anyway, the thing that needs to happen though is a unification of our leaders. That's the one thing that I think is my mission. Well, my second mission, other than building these community centers, is we got to get our leaders in the room, right? We have to sit down and figure this thing out at some point in time, or we just another church, right? We just a Protestant Reformation with a bunch of offshoots. See what I'm saying? At some point in time, we got to be able to sit down and do like Paul tells us. We should all be teaching the same thing, right? We should all be living the same thing. At some point in time, and I think this is the next thing that we're going to see, it's time to put our more powerful sisters out here, our sisters who have a great walk with the Most High, our sisters who understand what it means to be modest, but yet they can keep it fly. They can deal with the modern times, but still be modest. I've never seen a nation or anything grow without the womb, you know what I'm saying, being put to work. At some point in time, we got to let our women and our sisters come in as well and be the heartbeat of this thing. We built the bones. We got strong, solid men. We ready to go, right? Now it's time to add the sinews. It's time to add the veins. It's time to add the flesh. It's time to add the heartbeat. That's the women and the children, like the brother said, right? If you read Acts 6, the first thing that you read in Acts 6, verse 1, is there is an argument between the Hebraic widows and the Grecian, or what we call the Hellenized widows. The first thing they do is they pick the brother Stephen and a lot of the other real good brothers so they can administer to the women daily, not to take advantage of them, not to lord over them, but to actually empower them so they can continue to run their households. And so all of these things are the things that we need to see. We need to see unity, because that's one of the things we're accused of is being disunit or being unorganized in terms of a united body. But also we have to learn to teach our sisters correctly and empower them so they can also partake in the fight. So, and that don't mean women teaching men. So relax with that. Now, if that's a situation where that's all that's available to teach, and that's what we need to do, and that sister's powerful enough and strong enough, and you have some guidance and things there for oversight, you know, we can have a conversation. But what we talking about with our women is really leading our homes. I think the thing that we've gotten away from is empowering our women and let them know that one of the best things you can do is be a mother to the nation. Right? In a time period where our sisters are told, go build your career, go be a boss and all of this. Hey, I want you to get your money just as much as the next person. But we also need women that are raising up the household as well, right? And I don't just mean like in the house. I mean like on the streets. A lot of our older women, the grandmothers, they're not a bit more worried about being a grandmother. They want to travel. They want to get flown out. That's the stuff that we got to work on and teach and help and also get away from, right? With our brothers, the reason that it's happening is because we want to pay for it, right? We go. Some of the brothers get the money, and instead of putting a bunch of money into the community, they're going to, do some of these other things. So when we look at this fight, when we look at this lifestyle, like I said, the thing that I would like to see change, or the things that they accuse of, most of it I don't worry about. Even the quote unquote racist doctrine, or the hating of the white man or whatever. If they hated every white person they seen, we'd have riots in the streets every day, right? Let's just keep it a buck. A lot of this is serious,
Facts.
different sort. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this is a different sort of rhetoric, but a lot of this though it's trying to also be honest, right? I think it was Muhammad Ali said it on one time. They was asking him about being around white people, whatever. And he was like, look, you put me in a room full of a whole bunch of snakes, and maybe only a few of them, I'm paraphrasing, over 1 or 2 of them is venomous, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to get out from around all the snakes, right? So the conversation that I hear is often misunderstood or over pressed or over sensationalized simply for the act of trying to discredit what we are building. Right now, we do got some things that we need to work on as a unified body, but for the most part, I think we're headed in the right direction because we are coming to the table. We are starting to talk. I remember before there would never be a time where certain groups would even talk to each other, and now we're able to get past some of those hurdles. And as far as what we're doing or what our thought process is on where it should go next, I think we've already said it is moving to purpose now, right? A lot of this is it's not really hard or far-fetched to understand. If you look at what's going on in Dimona, Israel, with the Kingdom of Yah, when you look at the Igbo tribe, when you look at the Limba tribe, when you look at all of the groups here, all of the different congregations that are popping up here, what's happening in Europe, what's happening in South America, we really are exploding globally. So now it's just time to unite.
Understood, and it make total sense. And I think, and that I in a lot of ways, I agree with a lot of like what y'all, not only what y'all saying, but a lot of the stuff that I hear my brother Captain K say, and my brother Yasha Ben Israel say, and other brothers. I think some of the rhetoric that goes, a little left is where we start to divert. That being said, are either of you brothers anti-African?
No. We'll get that out the way now. No.
We're the furthest thing from anti-African. You see how I spoke for him, right? Even though neither one of us are anti-African. I think that for a number of what's the best word that can I use? What's another word that can I use besides ignorant?
Angry. I want to say it comes from anger, in my opinion, right? I don't want to say,
Hey,
go, Elder, just go. I got you.
Yeah, see, ignorant just means not knowing. So just not knowing. That's how I define it, right? Yeah. Because from what I've heard, the best argument for it, especially among Israelites, and I've taught this on my channel before and had this conversation extensively with Anonymous Hebrew. And shout out to Yasha Ben Israel. I see you in the chat, fam. That's a very intelligent brother. When it comes to Israelites' relationship with Africa, there's been a lot of misinformation and a lot of bad teaching. They'll tell you that it's not doctrine, right? Which I disagree with. They do teach it as doctrine, but it's funny because they started at the point of the Exodus, right? They started at the point of the Exodus as saying as though, well, not the Exodus, but before they're saying that we were enslaved because they enslaved our people or they oppressed our people, according to the scriptures in the Bible, because they oppressed our people, that we should somehow hate them, that we should somehow be against them, when the scripture clearly tells us, abhor not an Egyptian, because you were once a stranger or sojourner in their land. So how do you overlook that law, statute, and commandment and go right to we hate Africans. And I'm going to tell you what they're a victim of, and they don't really realize it. They're really a victim of the Hermetic hypothesis, which is really a European argument, right? They're a victim of that. And as much as they think they're teaching against it, they don't realize that when they say they're anti-African, that they're actually promoting it, this Hermetic hypothesis, right? They're actually promoting it. And so I say it's out of ignorance that they do this, right? Because I believe we can go through the scripture and it clearly tells us, listen, we can go as far back, and I think we did this lesson the other day on my channel when we talked about Hagar, right? Mm-hmm. The handmaiden to Abraham and Sarah, right? Basically, she became his wife. If they want to talk about, you can have multiple wives in Israel, and they, some people that's what they follow, right? This was one of Abraham's wives, Hagar. She bore his eldest son, Ishmael, right? But if you study the scripture, I believe it's Genesis chapter 14, I think somewhere around up in there.
14 through 17.
14 through 17. That we clearly see there's a number of things that the Most High begins an intimate, I'm not talking about sexual, but an intimate relationship with this Egyptian woman. First of all, she gets a covenant. Right. He establishes a covenant with her, right? A covenant, not just during that particular time, but that almost a covenant that is established forever, because I haven't seen any cessation of that covenant had been made, right? According to the scripture. So this is a long-standing covenant, right? That her seed would be blessed. This that comes from the loins of this Egyptian woman and Abraham himself was not an Israelite, right? So, but we see this long-standing covenant. Then she does something that really no one else ever does, as far as a black woman in the scripture, right? We talked about this on my channel the other day. There's something that occurs with her that no one else is given credit for. She actually has a name. She actually names or gives him the name that no one else has ever done in the scripture recorded before her time. And that is El Rohi, which means the God, or God sees me. So in other words, she says that El, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, knows who I am as an African woman. So for when I hear brothers argue against and talk about, are we anti-African? Was the Bible anti-African? It's completely ludicrous. They lack understanding, right?
Well, here, yeah, and then to add to it, the Christians' teachings are anti-African, right? If we just gonna keep it a stat, right? There's a lot of anti-African concepts and rhetoric in that. I'll say this: to have a distrust of whomever you feel sent us into slavery, that's warranted, right? But to say that you are anti an entire continent, anti an entire people, when there are 54 countries in Africa, I want to say, if I'm wrong, correct me, beat me up on your little streams or whatever. So the first problem is you got a lot of your brothers and sisters in all of these countries, right? Some of the main reasons why it's hard for you to really go in and say who you are as a people is because you won't connect to the Igbo, you won't connect to the Lingua, you won't connect to the Yoruba or to the Kikuyu people, or all of these different tribes that are throughout Africa, all of which whom have Israelite heritage, within their tribal makeup, right? To say that all the Yorubas are Israelites would be wrong, but there is a portion of Israelites that are in the Yoruba culture. There's a portion throughout all of these people. So that's the first part, right? The second part is, and I'm going to say this real seriously, you can't build nothing beautiful off of hate, right? I need you to really let that sink in. If anything that you're trying to build is built off of hate, eventually you're going to just be build more hate. We're going to build more hate-filled people. We're going to build more hate-filled doctrine. We're going to build more hate in the world. And at some point in time, if we believe the scriptures, there's going to come a time where we beat these weapons into plowshares, where we're going to start going back to focusing on building communities. If your goal is to be the wisest nation in the world, as we say, I guess in the military concept, is walk quiet and carry a big stick. Always be ready to get that work, right? But you don't necessarily have to just wake up and hate it. And that's just what it comes down
to. Yeah, agreed. So this is my last question, and then I have one from a gentleman who really wants to get an answer to a particular question from our brother Anonymous. But before we get to that, let me ask this last question. In terms of legacy and overall vision, as someone within the paradigm, what is your ultimate hope for the future of the Black community? And how do you see your faith contributing to that vision? I'll start with Anonymous.
Okay, here we go. This is what I'm working to build. This is all I've been working to build for the last probably 3 years consistently now. And all praise to the Most High, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I think we should be there. We will build an economic infrastructure that surpasses anything that anybody has seen. We will build something that operates internationally, that puts our people in a position that we are able to reunite with our culture, right? Be unapologetically Israel, while simultaneously becoming the light to the rest of the nations. As you can see, the entire world is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. These people don't know how to govern. They don't know how to properly even work with each other. That's why we're on the verge of World War III. And while everybody's championing that and clapping your hands, your goal should be now, we got next. Because the throne looking right for the taking. So are you going to stand up and be accountable? Are you going to stand up and be counted and actually be a light to the rest of this world? Where we do, like I keep talking about, where we dominate in all 12 areas of people activity? Where we actually get out here and do the things that we know we should be doing? Or are you going to continue to play in the mud with the peasants, so to speak, right? With the people who want to continue to keep us in darkness, continue to keep us in strife? No, not at all. The way our faith works, the way that we go this thing and we do this thing, we show you our faith through our works. And what we're going to do is be that unifying bridge. We're going to build the community centers. We're going to get into the neighborhoods. We're going to actually do the things. Now, we see our brothers in the One West camps already walking through. Now, the next step is let's set foundations. Let's make sure that we own properties and real estate to where we can do the housing first method. If you go study Finland and how they have worked to remove homelessness in the world and things like that. Right. My goal is to attack and eradicate homelessness around the globe in a way that nobody's ever seen. Right. And we do that by creating a self-sustaining economic plan. Right. That's the goal. That's the mountain of justice and judgment that is promised to Abraham. The promise of Abraham is much more than just saying, oh, I'm a believer. No, you actually get out here and build something that transcends the world. That's really what they're afraid of. But notice, they haven't really attacked us yet because we ain't started that. But that's what's coming, and that's what's going to be the next thing that you see. I'll yield there. Let the elder get some.
Yeah, again, I mean, I think there's no secret that that I concur with Anonymous Hebrew and everything that he says. So when you don't see the brother, he's in the lab. That's what he's doing. That's what we're talking about. This is what he's physically doing. I know these are the things that is being done. And so, there's some things, I had to say, hey man, can we share this now? Say, no, we almost there. Me, like, I'm like, hey, look, let's get it out there. Let's rock.
Hey, let me say this real quick. Contrary to popular belief, I know I seem like I'm the one that be ready to go. Like Elder be ready to get it, bro. Elder ready, like, let's just go now. And I'm like, hold on, we gotta have these I's dotted and these T's crossed. Keep going, Elder.
Yeah, because I'm like, hey, look, we can go back and we can do all that on the way. But I, but I trust the Most High, and I trust this brother's process and the things that the Most High shared with him, and how we should go about doing these things. Like I said, we're, a lot of people say they're gonna do things. It's often heard. Things never come to fruition. People say they have plans and different things like that. That we never see come to fruition in these communities, not even an attempt, right? But we're believing that the Most High has given, especially our brother Anonymous, the wisdom and knowledge and the understanding on how to pull these things together, and so. This is where, this is what we're doing. And like I said, it's not, and let me say this, it's not for everybody. And I think that's something that I stress all the time. It's not for everybody. Everybody's not going to agree with you. Everybody won't care. You see, it won't mean, it won't mean anything to a lot of people. But guess what? To the remnant and to those who these things can touch, these things can bring about a better life, can bring you closer to the Most High, can restore your families, restore your faith and trust in your brothers and your sisters around you, being a part of those who are like-mindedness. And it's that's who I'm praying, and that's who I believe that the Most High is going to send our way. Listen, we can talk
about it. He already doing it.
I don't care if you call yourself a Christian. Right. You see what I'm saying? You love the Most High, let's rock. There's a lot of things we're going to have to figure out. We'll figure it out later. But look, let's get one thing right. Nothing can be done by doing nothing.
Nothing.
So, if we're just able to establish and build one farm, one community, right? That's more than we've seen from a lot of people in 100 years, right? And so these are the things we're looking to do, and we're ready to do the work. We're willing to do the work for it, right? You got a whole lot of folks, they just, they want everybody to, y'all pay for it, then I'll do it. No, like a lot of this has already been done out, been born out in blood, sweat, and tears. You understand what I'm saying? So, there's a lot that has been paid just to get to this point. And, we're believing that the Most High is faithful and true to his word. Some people want, and like I said, I tell my brother Anonymous all the time, because his heart is for everybody. His heart is for everybody. Elder Yarah, I don't look at it like this so much. He'll tell you, I'm going to tell you right now, you can't be worried about these folks who won't act like they don't get it, who don't want to act like they don't get it. Because, hey, listen, let's look, like, just do what the Most High say do.
I hear you. And but I just add this. I was once the person that would have been thrown away, right? I'm the throwaway. I'm literally the throwaway, fam. I'm the one that you give up on, that you gave up on, and then you found out, man, that little black boy, he had someone, oh man, he got it popping, right? So when he say my heart is for everybody, that's true. Don't get it twisted though. Like, ain't no suckers around here. You got to run your plan. You got to pay your way as well too, right? And so, and then because I think I got an idea where we're going next. So I'll put a pause here. I'll put a break here while we still peace. I just want to say, and what the Most High has been doing, and is what the Most High is about to do, is something that we've never seen. The scripture tells us, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. If you can imagine, I'm a visionary. If you can imagine a vision, And I can't even fathom how far this thing is going to go. We're just at the tip of becoming who we're supposed to be, right? We are just at the beginning. I know you think we've been at it 50, 60 years. We're just now getting where we need to be. And so the next move now is to actually do this next economic piece and do the work of really getting involved in our communities. And most high willing, as long as it's breath in my body, right? As long as it's breath in my body, this will happen. It's going to be way more than just one farm. Shout out to the elder, because I know he's saying even if he did that, but we need self-sustaining lifestyle. And that's the next goal. That's the next piece.
Understood. And with that being said, listen, it's somebody who been wanting to get a question to our brother Anonymous since before we went live. And the question is from the one and only MVP Chris Harris. And it is, does eugenics prove you, anonymous Hebrew, or an Israelite, and to please expound on your answer?
All right, elder. I was good, right?
And you still got it, bro. You know how to answer that.
Hey, I hate cowards, bro. So here's my issue, right? Hey, little boy, you've been chasing me for years, and I've been nice, right? I've been real nice to you. Hey. I didn't say nothing when you spend 3.5 hours on your channel talking about me, right? I ain't say nothing when you do all the little extra. Hey, bro. And I don't think he said eugenics. I think he said epigenetics, right? If he said eugenics, that's
what is.
Well, listen. He texted to me, and I'll send you a screenshot.
But can you explain? Can you explain what epigenetics is, brother?
Yeah, let's get into this for a second. But I want to say what I said first. Number one, all y'all cats who keep misquoting me and keep running stuff and acting like that's the only thing I said, I need you to do a better job. If you want to discredit me, I need you to be more complete. It's too easy to address.
So check your text message. So make sure I said
it's good. No, you good. You good. You said eugenics. I don't teach eugenics. Now, some people may say that epigenetics is eugenics. I would differ, and we could get into that conversation. So when we talk about epi, we mean epi meaning above, genetics meaning your genetics, right? Your genes. When I tell people that we can use genetic or use epigenetics as well as migratory patterns, as well as DNA, right? If we want to track our genetic gene pool in conjunction with epigenetics, that is a real thing, meaning this. And mainly what I teach is transgenerational epigenetics, right? Now we're going a little deeper, which means things that happen over a long period of time, 10, 15, 20 generations. What we're learning now is the things that happen to you today has a definite effect on you, your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren. We can just keep going generation. So when you say, can we have these conversations about whether or not epigenetics plays into the conversation, the answer to that is 100% yes. Here's why. Because of the fears, because of the things that we inherited from our ancestors. So in other words, there are certain things that I'm predisposed to, certain things that are going to already show up and be released, if you understand. So I think the brother laughed when I said histones. Yeah, go study it. Go study how epigenetics work, right? The way your cells work is everything that happens releases different chemicals in your body. And then those chemicals affect you, they affect your offspring, they even affect how you respond. So in other words, if you grew up in a violent setting and you got a lot of cortisol released now, that's going to affect you. The reason I say that we can use these things is there are certain things that we are going to be genetically predisposed to. There are certain actions that we have based upon different stimuli. And I want to be very careful because I am writing a book about it, right? You will get epigenetic Israel, just like you're going to get the book Toronomics, right? And a whole slew of other books. I love the fact that you guys think you want to have a conversation, right? Because you think you can isolate one thing that I say. But I never say you just use epigenetics. Use epigenetics in conjunction with migratory patterns, in conjunction with your DNA, and now we have a real conversation. Thank you, sir. Would you like another? Please stop saying my name and go teach something.
Hey,
Tired
man.
of it, bro.
Hey, listen. So I think that I think a lot of these things. I think a lot of these things oftentimes are in between are in between certain conversations that because there's no amicable or respectable discourse that comes across both aisles. It's always it always seems to be like, I got you moment, or instead of a moment is to say where, I'm just trying to understand where you are, not something that so I can make, a 30-minute video for clickbait and views, on my channel. So it's these things are always made fodder for foolishness, just like tonight, right? And with anything else that I say, if we were, I think if you would have put in the title, Elder Yarah, an anonymous Hebrew, is live tonight on Takeover Tuesday. They're going to be sharing some dirt on about 23 Hebrews and non-Israelites, that's, around that y'all
You
might know.
100 people waiting.
You had 900 people watching tonight, right? You had all kind of things going on, because this is exactly what we're talking about in our community. People's minds and mental health is at a state where truth is difficult for them to take. It's difficult for them to swallow, right? And so they don't, so
swallowed.
Yeah, exactly. You know what, you went there. And so they don't look to try to build. You open up this conversation by saying how you invited us here tonight. I understand that was just to build, and that's why we really appreciate you giving us the opportunity to come on, or even inviting us on, because it's been a righteous build, and this is what we appreciate. We look for. Listen, I've had people that wanted to attack me. And I've offered them to, just come on my channel just to tell your story. I'm not here because I didn't ask you to come on my channel because you don't believe how I believe. You don't view the world the way I view the world. I just asked you because I felt like a part of your story can help someone else. But people can't get past the minutia and the childishness in order to have an adult conversation. They simply cannot do it. A lot of what problems that we have in our community among our people is immaturity. Problem full of it. Just immaturity. We got a lot of immature people. It's just like getting on the 747 Airbus. You're gonna fly from here to Africa, and they open the cockpit, and you look back there, and it's a 3-year-old.
You know what it is. You know what it's going to be. Man.
You know your life is about, this thing is about to be a disaster. And we got a lot of people with their piloting these channels and these spaces with the minds of 3-year-olds. You see?
I'm going to add this last
all
part.
They're doing is crashing and burning. So we got to get past that, man. We got to get past that.
I'll say this last
real
part.
Brotherhood. Time to create. Yep. Go ahead, bro.
He's right. No, just the last part, right? Hey, look, man, I'm here for the debates. I know I'm known for being fiery, having the debates, all of that. I'm with that, right? What I'm not with at this point in time is, like you said, dealing with children. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, brother. I'm a very serious person. I have a lot of fun, have a great time in life. I'm a very serious person in the stuff that I'm doing. What makes you think I even want to answer some of these questions when you don't have the right spirit about the way you go about doing these things? There's a right way and a wrong way from here on out to go about doing these things. So I'll say this here and I'll continue to say this. If you want to deal with me, to deal with me correctly, like an adult, have the conversation, right? If you can't, brother, for all means, stay over there. Watch us on the news. Watch us on TV. Watch when we finish doing what we're doing, right? Deal with us that way, right? But from here on out, I only want to deal with the adults at the room. I want to sit at the big people table, right? We sit at the grown-ups table. If you can't do that, that's why when you have those y'all do them holidays, the days where y'all get together and all of that. You put the little kids over there at the little kiddie table. That's how I view you at this point. I view you as somebody that sits at the little kiddie table. As Elder said the other day, you my contemporary. You ain't never been my peer. You understand that?
Oh,
Y'all have a good evening.
man.
Sheesh.
And that is definitive. That is definitive. So, family, I think again the brother has broken it down so it can forever and completely be broke. No disrespect to anybody. I think that the brother just he said what he said, and that's where he at with it. That being the case, my brothers, I appreciate y'all time. I'm gonna let y'all get out of here, but before we do, my brother Anonymous Hebrew, you do have something coming up on January 10th.
Yes, sir.
That I think is going to be a crucial situation for the family. Would you like to break that thing down for the people, please?
With pleasure, bro. With pleasure. So first off, all praise to the Most High, and shout out to the brother DMG for letting the Most High use him to set this situation up. On January 18th, I will be debating the brother Vocab Malone right here on this channel, right? And the title will be, I think we said, who is better, the church or Israel, correct?
Which is better?
Which is better? Yeah, which is better, the church or Israel? Obviously, we know what side I'm on. We know what side that brother's on. I'll say this: got respect for the brother's work. It's not going to be no clown show or none of that, but it is going to be that one, right? It is going to be that thing. Y'all know how I get when I'm in this mode, and I'm in this ABC mode right now, where when it comes to debates, if you're serious, anybody could get it, right? And so the conversation is going to be serious. And it's going to be one of these things where we really sit down and force people to deal with their biblical hermeneutics. We're going to bring out some of these big words, some of these seminary school words about how we really break down the scriptures. I'm not interested in anybody's emotions, not at all, right? We dealing with straight script work. We're going to even go into some archaeology. We're going to do how we really do. Y'all that know how I debate, you know how I get down. Shout out to the brother, but I'm definitely coming in punching. This ain't nothing you've seen before. I guarantee you that. This ain't your grandmama's Jesus. This ain't your One West presentation. So I hope you're ready for that.
Okay, hey, bro. I think I feel like this one might be a little bit of a situation for you, my good brother. And Vocab, you know you my man's in there. My favorite Pazan and all that good stuff. I rock with you. prior to my having the Godfather, as we call him, Sonetta on the joint, Vocab gave me my highest viewed show, and I always tell people it was one of them things where I was talking about the brother, you know, in a fashion unbecoming. You know, I think I called him the Vlad. I asked the question: is Vocab Malone the Vlad TV of the conscious community? And a mutual friend told him, you know, about some of the things I was saying, and he was like, "I'll come on there." And I was like, "Word?" And so it didn't dawn on me until after the show started that the brother actually was doing me a solid, because he could have, you know, responded to what I said about him on his program, and you know, it would have been whatever it was. I wouldn't have benefited from it. You know, maybe a few people that saw it would have came over and, you know, shot me a subscription, but that probably would have been about it. But not only did he come over to my channel and get me, you know, around 2,000 or so plus views, but some of his audience came over to me, and I realized that kind of right in the middle of the thing, and was like, wait a minute, this brother ain't all that bad. And so we just kind of start vibing from there. And anytime I ask him to come on, anytime I give him a call, he with it. So a lot of respect for that brother. Obviously, a lot of respect for this brother. I think it's going to be a powerful conversation. Which is better, the church or Israel? And hey, y'all be there January the 18th. The flyer will be, the thumbnail will be on the community page. I was hoping to have it ready for y'all before we ended the show, but y'all know I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so it's not quite there yet. But I will have that ready.
I was gonna say, I knew you was my brother. I knew you was my brother. I'm the same way, bro.
Yeah, I've been working on it while we've been going, and I'm like, it ain't quite ready. I was gonna share it when I had you talk about it, but I'm like, nah, I ain't ready. I ain't ready. I gotta mess with it a little more, you know. But definitely appreciate both brothers coming on and having that conversation. And if he will honor us again with his presence, we are looking to have Elder Yarah moderate that thing, and also he is welcome to stream it on the new Torah movement as well. So we definitely looking to collab with these two brothers and build. They welcome to come and participate in the Versus series, do some things over here. So look for all of that to start taking place. We definitely looking fellowship, build, collaborate, etc. So this will not be the last that you see of them over here. And you definitely will see me over there whenever they get the time to have me. So any last words to close this thing out from either brother?
As always, Elder go first.
No doubt, man. Again, all praise to the Most High Yah, man. We appreciate you, DMG, for having us on, having us to share, just having a conversation, a discussion. You know, not a Bible study or not just brother to brother talk. It's we it's okay. We can do that, right? I will say this though, I'm excited about that Vocab Anonymous Hebrew debate. I want to know. I'm gonna try to jog Vocab's memory. There was a time I think he and G-Con, we had some. He and Vocab and myself and some of the other brothers had some mix-ups about certain things in exchanges that we had, but I've since had a debate with Vocab myself. He's a good brother, right? I don't have any issues with him at all. But I will say this: I don't think he's ever said this before, but I think he labeled us as moderate Israelites, and then how we're probably the most dangerous group or sect of has. Moderate Israelites. And and I agree with him, and I agree with him because we're not extreme to the militant, as far as and as Anonymous Hebrew said, from those who come from certain spaces that are clearly built on hate. And we're not ones just to sit back and rest in our laurels, but we're the ones that is going to be honest and sincere about what we are, who we are, and the things that the Most High has given us to do. And so, look, we're not here to sell you, a bill of goods or to sell you a cup of ice in Alaska. We're not trying to do any of that. What we're really trying to do is create good brotherly communities where our men can be proud of who they are. They can stand to be the priest of their homes. Our women can feel protected and safe, and our children can grow up and be called and do the things that the Most High has called them to do in their lives, and to be greater than their mothers and their fathers. Those are the things that we desire to do in our communities, and giving all praise to the Most High Yah as we go forward in that. And so, again, I appreciate you, brother. Shout out to Anonymous Hebrew, man. Shout out to the New Torah Movement family. Shout out to KOT. Shout out to Yerim Yahoo. Shout out to Sister Cassandra. Shout out to Shout out to Professor Lovely Lady. Shout out to all of those who are tuning in and watching as well. Peace and blessings to y'all. Anybody that I didn't call, it's just getting late, so we're gonna get up out of here. But peace and blessings to y'all. Hey, man, you welcome on a New Torah Movement anytime, bro. Anytime.
No,
Let me know.
No doubt.
I'll be very, very brief. First off, appreciate everybody that pulled up. Y'all could have did anything else. Guess I should start here first. Honestly, is as always giving all praises to our deity, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We also give acknowledgement and love to all of his Mashiach, especially specifically to his holy anointed one, Mashiach, or Messiah Yeshua. Hey, listen, family, it's time to take that next step, right? It's time to take that next step. And so I'll just say this name right here. You say this is the first time, so y'all gonna hear this name. Kohia is coming. Okay? Kohia is coming. The kingdom of heaven is upon us. Let's just say it like that. And time for playing games is over. Right? It's time for us to be community. We will become one. We will unite. We will be a people. I got love for everybody, all of the NTM movement, all of the New Torah movement family. I love all of y'all. Y'all know what it is. And to all of that Kohia family, y'all know what it is. It is time for the redeemed to stand up and say so. Right? Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. We are not afraid. We are unapologetically who we are. The reason we don't have to keep arguing about our identity, because we got that now. Now let's go live in that purpose, right? Let's go live in that purpose. So as much love and respect. Hey, shout out to the Craig and Craig law firm. You know what I'm saying? Almost forgot that one. Love the two Craigs. Love our brothers. And to you, good brother DMG, I'm grateful for this growing brotherhood. I'm grateful that I'm the man I am now, to actually be a good brother, to know how to be a good brother, and to recognize a budgeting brotherhood. So I got nothing but love and respect and a lot of appreciation for you, brother. May the Most High continue to shine on you. And always to the elder, man, you know what it is. Probably taught you an hour, man. Much love.
No doubt. No doubt. Appreciate both of y'all, brother. Shout out to the Craig and Craig law firm. shout out to all the brothers and sisters who tuned in. Shout out to all the supporters. Shout out to the Shift, the best back chat in the business. Shout out to my brother, Nobody from Trust and Believe the Gospel. Shout out to my man Inyame and Ubuntu. He got a conversation, a dialogue coming up with our brother, the Anonymous Hebrew. Inyame, I actually need a picture, bro, so I can get that flyer made for y'all too. But yeah, man, shout out to everybody who support. And we're gonna be, y'all know what I always say. Y'all keep it coming. We're gonna be black at it again. The Versus series is in full effect. That is our debate league. We call it the Battle of the Ideologies. The Versus series with the one and only undefeated, undisputed, distinguished champion, Pandemus African. We are about to kick off the social media title tournament. For those who are familiar with how WWE works with the secondary titles, such as the Intercontinental title or the United States title, or even back in the day when they had the television title, that's how our social media title is going to work for us. That thing going to be defended anytime, any place. It can be defended here on the platform. It can be defended on a Facebook exclusive show, Instagram. Elder Yarah might say, hey man, I got a up and comer who want to shout at your social media champion. Tell them to come on over here. And hey, he or she might accept and go over there and defend it. So, the world title gonna be a little more exclusive, but that social media title is gonna be anywhere, anytime. You can get this work like Loaded Lux. So we're gonna get this thing in full effect. As my world champion and the Craig and Craig law firm say, come on over here and get ranked. We're gonna have a ranking system. That's how we're gonna line up who get what title shots. So y'all keep on rocking with us. As I said, we will be black at it again. Shout out to the Bar Reloaded in the building. Didn't see y'all, but I see you now. So again, we're gonna be black at it again, family. Big things coming up. Social media title tournament, the Anonymous Hebrew versus Vocab Malone. Which is better, the church or Israel? And with that, family, y'all know what it is. We're going to leave y'all with the brother, the phenom, Neo, One Love. Till next time, that is peace.
Yeah. I know I got about 30 seconds to make y'all feel this before y'all turn it off these days. That I might not even release it. But I be doing this shit for me, help me get through. I feel like I give until I can't, but most don't recognize it till I ain't. Blood on them covers, she hoping paint. Sorry mama, but it ain't. This world took a toll on me, and everyone that say they love me always seem to follow me. The same one that call me great, treat me like I ain't shit. I read between the lines, it's written all over your eyes. I see the disappointment in the eyes of the ones who want me dead, but I ain't never been scared, I tried to get there. Sometimes I wonder if I survived or did I die on that ride to that hospital. Demons all around me, I am not mental. This game of life, it is not simple. Last time I was happy, I was popping pills.